Morning, John.
I'm sorry, have we met?
It's Graham.
No, still doesn't ring any bells.
Your writing partner?
Oh, really?
Yes.
I thought he'd been kidnapped by aliens and subjected to a probe. Snatched by yetis and taken to an undisclosed cave in the Himalayas to be used as a sex toy. Made to walk the plank by deranged pirates with hygiene issues and no respect for maritime law. What other reason would there be for him not turning up for all this time?
You seem rather annoyed.
Annoyed? I've been waiting to write with you for days. The new series starts filming on Monday. People are depending on us to come up with the goods. Reputations, nay, lives hang on it. But you roll in here wearing a pink chiffon scarf and expect to take up where you left off. Can you give me one single reason why I shouldn't ram that pipe where the sun doesn't shine?
I met Keith.
Keith?
Moon. He invited me to a party.
For a whole week?
It was in Sardinia. Ollie came.
Well, who the hell is Ollie?
Reed. And before you knew it, a week had flown by. A punch-up with the Australian Navy, an unfortunate goosing of the British consul's wife, a reenactment of the film Zorba the Greek, and here I am, fresh as a daisy and ready for work.
I think I'm going to cry.
Norwegian Blue.
What?
In the parrot sketch. You should call it a Norwegian Blue.
Brilliant.
Idol, get it?
Not in the least.
What are you going to change your name to then, Squire?
Please.
Why not change your name to a cheese?
I'm sorry?
John Edam?
No, that would be silly.
John Gorgonzola?
Even sillier.
John Mozzarella? John Roquefort? John Sage Derby? John Feta? John Pecorino? John Cavilli? John Bavarian Smoked?
You're still being silly.
All right then, Squire, say no more. Please it is, please it is. What are you going to do for the audition?
What do I have to do for the audition?
Money could change hands, Chief, that's all I'm saying. A nod's as good as a wink to a blind mason.
Are you suggesting I bribe you to get into the Cambridge footlights?
Only suggesting, Squire. Strictly hush-hush. You scratch my palm, I'll scratch yours. Hey, hey, money's the root of all evil. Only not in this case, hey?
I wouldn't sink to anything so immoral.
You wouldn't? Oh. Well, what are you going to do for your audition then, Squire?
Well, what sort of audition did you have in mind? I have to warn you, I refuse to lose my dignity under any circumstances.
I had in mind an audition where you lose your dignity under every circumstance, but which doesn't involve nakedness of any kind.
Oh, why didn't you say so? Oh, I can do a peculiar walk.
Anyone can do a peculiar walk, Chief.
Not as peculiar as this.
How peculiar can a walk get?
Very, very peculiar.
I'll be the judge of that. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were having a fit.
Is this the hall for the auditions?
I'm afraid we've just had a peculiar walk.
This is my natural walk.
It is? What are you going to do for us then?
I can wrestle myself with extreme violence.
Say no more. You're in. That'll be £5.
You have to pay to get into the footlights.
All right, fair play. You bartered me down. Let's call it 5 guineas.
Ignore him. He's being very silly. We can come back later.
All right, I'm a fool to myself. Let's say 14 guineas for the pair of you. Can't say fairer than that. Well, only in a court of law. Where are you going?
I'm Graham.
John, like the pipe.
We met at Oxford University, which is like Cambridge University, only with better toilet facilities. But I digress. Back to Michael Palin, who's a very nice man. How about abandoning your career as a round-the-world travel guru and becoming a comedy writer instead, I said. I don't have a career as a round-the-world travel guru, he said, quite rationally. Thus, we became comedy writers and wrote many amusing and satirical things, mainly on toilet walls. But there was no living in it. What say you? We abandon the toilet walls, I said, and write things down on paper. We could lose all our dignity and send it to David Frost. So we did. Within months of leaving college, we were writing at the BBC. Mainly on their toilet walls, but occasionally for the Frost Report. Laugh! Not at David Frost, we didn't.
Monty Python! I remember it like it was yesterday. That's because it was yesterday. Oh, that's right, so it was. We all had a nice cup of tea and decided to start a comedy duo. Just the six of us. I remember how it started. Who could forget? How did it start? I forget. Oh, I remember. Yeah, but nostalgia's not as good as it was. I remember how it started. You remember how it started. I remember how it started. Is there an echo in here? I was standing outside the BBC, minding my own business, slapping passing television celebrities with dead herring, as you do, when Barry Took came up to me. Marty Feldman's typist? That's the one. He was a consultant to the BBC comedy department at the time. Aren't you John Cleese, he said. Yes, I said. Would you like your own television show, he said. Yes, I said. But I'd like to bring some people with me, I said. Attila the Huns, Asiatic hordes. No, they were too busy shopping at Harrods. The Dagenham Girl Pipers. No, they were too busy conquering Asia. Who then? Well, Graham Chapman, naturally. The overly butch geezer with a pipe. That's the one who I knew from Cambridge. Must have been marvellous going to Cambridge. Punting down the cam in a gondola. And Idle, Palin and Jones. Sounds like a firm of shysters. We'd survived the Frost Report, I said. Why not survive Barry Took, I said. Barry Took it well. What did he do? Slapped me with a dead herring. No, I tell a lie, it was Albert.
Hello, Eric.
Graham?
Yes, that's me.
You seem to be wearing a dress.
So I am. Does the colour match the pipe?
Yes. What are you doing here?
We had a writing session booked.
That was on Thursday.
Isn't this Thursday?
No, it's Tuesday. Where have you been?
Oh, it's all a bit of a blur, but Barry Cryer, the Coldstream Guard, some scaffolding and a traffic cone were all certainly involved.
John's furious. He's been waiting to write with you since yesterday morning.
All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. I don't know Jack personally, but I believe that by and large he can be very, very boring.
We need sketches for the new series.
Oh, they'll come.
But you never sit still long enough to write anything.
You sound like my mother. Well, John, but he mothers me more than my mother.
You can't party all the time, old son.
Oh, just watch me.
Terry Gilliam here. Hi. How did I get involved with a whole bunch of crazy English guys? Well, I'd run into Cleese in New York whilst he was doing the Cambridge Circus Review there, and I was working for the satirical magazine Help, and I got John to appear in a photo story as a man who falls in love with a Barbie doll. I called John looking for work. He was doing at last the 1948 show with Graham and Marty Feldman, and he recommended me to the Do Not Adjust Your Set guys, who he'd worked with on Frost. It was a kids show with a huge adult following. Now, Jonesy and Mike were not keen on taking in a scruffy Yank animator in a caftan, but Eric fought my corner. So I got in by the skin of my teeth. And when the great Took suggested that Cleese he make a television show for the BBC, John took a whole bunch of the Do Not Adjust Your Set guys with him. So I ended up, by default, in Monty Python's Flying Circus. Thus, the golden age of comedy had begun.
You had to pot black, snooker in black and white, watching to grey balls and to slightly darker grey balls, being pocketed by chain-smoking drunkards, avid viewing.
Bonanza. To Western series about a 50-year-old rancher and his 3 47-year-old sons. Always believable.
Coronation Street, and its honest, gritty depiction of fat-arsed, repulsive men and bandy-legged, repulsive women.
Bill and Ben, two giggling cretins and their weed.
To Forsyte Saga, to costume drama that made wife-beating fashionable again.
Hey! 1960s television had it all.
And Monty Python, lest we forget.
Oh, Monty Python, totally original.
Totally changed the face of comedy as we knew it.
If Tut Spark Milligan hadn't have done it first, it would have been almost groundbreaking.
Aye. 6 bright sparks fresh out of university.
Keen to take their clothes off.
And dress up as women as frequently as possible.
Introducing a golden age of transvestitism to BBC Two.
Where's Graham, John?
Gone AWOL, Mike, as per. Why?
I need a script for the Knights of Knee scene. I left mine back at the hotel. I saw him with his.
Can't you ad-lib, Ducky?
After all these years, sweetie, I should cocoa.
There's a script in his case, Mike.
If he's down the pub again, he'll be useless this afternoon.
We'll shoot round him, Eric. We always do.
Terry J will be furious.
He's always furious. He's Welsh.
Can't you talk to Gray, John?
Why me?
He's your writing partner.
One who doesn't actually do any of the writing.
Well, at least you've got a partner.
Bloody hell.
What?
There's 2 gin bottles in his case.
So?
They're almost empty.
They can't be. It's not even lunchtime.
Look.
This is getting ridiculous.
What'll we do, John?
Good question.
I'd better give him another lecture.
Will it help?
Got any better ideas, Eric?
Not offhand. We'd better come with you.
Anyone know which pub Graham's in?
It's like working with Dean Martin.
Dean Martin drinks? Who knew?
There you are, Graham.
I should be somewhere else, John.
How about on a film set?
Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Ring any bells?
Oh, yes, Eric. Have I seen already, sweetie?
Only 3.
Oh, well. There's always after lunch. Drink, anyone?
That's why we're here.
To drink and in a pub. What a brilliant combination. Spread the word, it could catch on.
No, you're letting the side down, Gray.
The sides, Eric. Huzzah!
Seriously, what are you doing here?
Thinking about how we all met, John. I seem to be awash with nostalgia today. I might be drowning in it. Send for the lifeboats!
Couldn't you do that without the gin and tonic?
Don't be absurd, Mike. I don't do anything without the gin and tonic.
You're overdoing it, Gray.
There's no such thing as overdoing it, Michael. Life is a cabaret and all that.
Terry J is really cheesed off with you.
He's always cheesed off with me. He's Welsh. It goes with the conquered territory.
This can't go on.
Why ever not?
We're really worried about you.
What's to worry about?
The boozing?
I'm having the time of my life, Eric.
This is a life?
I've always drunk. Since sixth form.
But why?
Because. Hello. Is this the right room for the Dean Martin Appreciation Society?
No, it's the right room to become an alcoholic.
Oh. All right. I'll become one of those then.
Oh, good show, good show. Always room for another drunk in the British Isles. We're the dipsomania capital of the world, after all. When there's a lull in the traffic, you can hear the livers scream. So, what's your poison?
Gin and tonic?
Top hole, mother's ruin, that's what I call gin, or would be, if I had a mother. I was raised by wolves. But that's another story for another time. How's the grovelling in your own filth?
Oh, gotta be at A-level in grovelling in my own filth.
Surely good. Self-loathing?
A-.
Projectile vomiting?
Black belt in that.
Memory lapses?
Sorry, forgotten the question.
Excellent. Reasons for drinking?
Low self-esteem.
Of course.
Fear of failure.
Naturally.
Middle-class guilt over my sexuality.
Get her.
General sense of persecution and paranoia.
That's what the others said.
The feeling I've wasted my calling.
Calling?
I'm a qualified doctor. I could have worked at St. Bart's, helping sick people get sicker. But I became a comedian, pulling silly faces for more money instead. It seems all so trivial somehow.
In the top 10 list for alcoholics, of course.
Comedians?
Doctors and clowns. That's why the British public always leave them unattended with their children.
Then, of course, there was my terrible sense of inferiority working with John Cleese, who's a genius naturally. I felt I could never live up to his considerable standards.
Funny, that was one of the major reasons he gave for leaving Monty Python. The pressure of writing with an alcoholic. You.
I thought that was because he hated repeating himself.
Oh! Did I mention the wolves?